Perfect. And we are live. So while we wait to see if anybody pops in here, why don't we just chit chat for a bit? I don't think I even bothered to ask you how you were when we were backstage.
Yeah. So I was up until 5 a.m. my time last night because I was uploading. So I was so prepared this year for CarveCon. Last year it was like literally down to the wire. I was freaking out. Like my time last night. Oh, sorry. Oops, I got. So I was so prepared this year for CarveCon. Last year it was like.
Oh no, the feedback.
Got it. Sorry, we took care of that. So I had my other computer going. So I was like down to the wire last year, and I was like freaking out because as I posted everything, it was like, now we have a copyright music issue that I had no idea to even look into. And so I'm literally like, it took, the video was like an hour and 45 minutes. So it was like, it took like all night to upload. So I couldn't re-upload or do anything with the music. I had to find all the licensing and like get all that squared away. Things I never thought of because it was the first video I had ever done. And so it was, kind of the same thing. But last night I was like, I got everything done like Wednesday. I was like, I'm so good. I'm so ready to go. And then of course, last night I'm putting it in and I was like, I want to change this one part of a clip and like add this music to it. And of course, once I add it in, I'm uploading it. It's on there. But when I upload it to YouTube, the music isn't translating. I'm like, how? The file, I'm looking at the file. It has music. It's not coming through. And I was just like, it drove me nuts. And then I watched it today and I think I don't know. Like at this point, I don't even know if there's music ever that was on there. Like, I was just like, all right, we did it. We're good. Like, but it's just like the stress of a premiere. It's just like,
yeah. And you were up till 4 a.m. trying to get to work. And then you're here today and you're still functioning.
Oh, absolutely. I'm ready. I'm used to it, especially like around this. This is why I take a break right after CarveCon for like a few days. Cause it's like every night I feel like I'm just like, burning the midnight oil. And, it's like when I write one of the books, it's like, I'm a big, like after midnight is my prime time. Like where I'm like midnight to 4 a.m. I do my best work. Like I get in the zone and just go. And like,
that's why you're always awake when I'm awake, and you send me a message, and I'm like, right back. Hey,
yeah, always.
Thanks for coming. Trick or treat. Sorry, I don't have any candy with me.
I know I didn't bring any either.
I have some spooky books. Do you want some? Do you want some spooky books?
Oh yeah, you got yours. I got
mine. Hey, Lewis, thanks for coming. Lewis, all the way from the UK.
Oh,
very exciting. Lewis. Okay, so why don't we go ahead then? Because you and I are both obviously tired. You've got your coffee. I don't have coffee. That's not going to function without it. Why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, talk about FrightVision and how it became, and just like your whole idea and plan. Because I'm just enamored with what you've done with FrightVision and like your whole business idea. And it's not just about spooky books and middle grade books. There's so much more to it.
Thanks. Yeah. And so I'm Culliver Crantz. As I like to tell all the kids that I meet, my real name is Joe, so feel free to call me Joe. But I just felt like Joe wasn't a spooky enough name to write a spooky book series. So I came up with Culliver Crantz, and I used it for my FrightVision series. Now, FrightVision is kind of like, it's a spooky mystery adventure series, aimed at kids like 7 to 12 years old. It's that middle grade genre there. And it all started because of this coin. And so what I wanted to do with FrightVision was kind of take all of these random regular things and put a twist on it, make it something weird. Like the whole thing, simple coin. Every kid has seen a coin, had a quarter in their hand. And if I could make it so that it was weird and fun and spooky and mysterious, then we could do something. And so I teamed with a bunch of other authors as, some of these, like there's multiple names on some of the books. And so like we have Picture Day where I wrote with Julia Dove and she writes the story. And like, we do, each book is its own standalone story, but then it connects through the Cursed Coin books. And so there's this big story happening. So you can read these kind of in any order, but I always recommend kind of the Cursed Coin first, just because it gives you the groundwork that there's some, builds out that whole world of FrightVision. And then each of the other books are like self-contained stories, but there's these big things coming now down the line that is going to connect everything. So, we have Picture Day as book 2. We have Wishful Thinking as book 3. I think you said Logan. This is one of Logan's favorites right here, Wishful Thinking.
Yes.
Frame for Life.
Every time there was a new one that came up, we're like, "Hey, now this one's our favorite." Okay, no wait, this one's my favorite.
Yeah, so we have Frame for Life 4, I think Graveyard Challenge 5. This is probably the spookiest of all the Fright Vision books. That was with S.O. Thomas.
It's
hashtag
Graveyard
that's
Challenge.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Then we have, this is one of my favorite covers too. Like, I love that cover with the backpack and the shoes, the Attack of the Yellow Smart Sack. Then, oddly enough, the 7th book in the series is the Curse Coin 2. So I pick up from where the Curse Coin 1 ended, and now it starts to connect all of these other things. But yeah, we're still left with more mysteries.
I'm going to hold up that one too, if you want to hold it up at the same time, because I've got the different covers. Let me grab that one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we made a change when we like printed extra books like through our distributions and stuff to add some, gradient color schemes that would kind of pop a little bit. I really like the pop. I do love that original green though. I got a bunch of those too.
I do
but
too.
Even the Cursed Coin, I have the red one, but I'm a big fan of that green one. So like the Cursed Coin 1, like that's the gradient color one. The color scheme, like I just love that green though, that neon green. It just gives it that old horror feel to it.
There's just too many books here to hold up. And
then book 8 is The Broken Hearts. Most recent one is book 9, The Peephole. That was one that so that was my first go at an experiment with it. So each of these are different experiments happening. And The Peephole was my first go at just an experiment. Because I write the Cursed Coin books, which connect everything, but I wanted to have some fun and write my own experiment in there as well. So I got into the game with the Peephole. And then we have the spooky activity book that we did based on last year's CarveCon with the spooky Would You Rathers and, the story prompts. And I use a lot of these like story prompts, like this lake house one at the very end. We use that when I do my fright storming sessions at schools. And so like we brainstorm out full on stories. I do everything interactive on the spot with kids using all their ideas. And so it's just like, we just have a blast doing those. And so, I kind of tailor those based on the series. And so what I always like to say with Fright Vision is that it was never meant to just be a book series. And so for me, it's about like getting kids involved and like making them part of this whole thing. And so like, that's why I do all of these different writing contests. If you look at the end of The Peephole, there's a story written by 12-year-old Jasmine that she wrote that story. And so we published her story at the end of The Peephole. Same thing with Broken Hearts. We have a story at the very end that's written by a kid. And so I'm always trying to get them involved and get their ideas out there. And so that's why I created that Exhibit A writing contest, which was unbelievable. We had entries from all over the world come in, and we're going to print those. Yeah, it's crazy. We're going to print those top stories into the book, but everyone who entered the contest just for entering is going to get their name printed in the book. So they truly become part of the Fright Vision series, because Exhibit A, even though it's going to be an extra book like the puzzle book, it's going to get mentioned by name in the Curse Coin 3, which is book 10 in the series. So it actually plays a role in how the whole series comes together just based on the kids. And so their stories. And it's such it's a cool way to tie them all into it. And so, but yeah, so the 10th book will be the next book that comes out. Well, Exhibit A will be close. So between Exhibit A and then the 10th book will be the Curse Coin 3. And so that's going to be, that book is wild. Let me tell you, like when I I've been setting up these like connections and everything, but the reveal and the whole tie-in is just, it's wow.
So excited to read Curse Coin 2. Lewis said, excellent concept. I love writing kids horror when I first started writing. Yes, absolutely. Get those young kids, those young readers reading.
Absolutely.
Hey, Juicy. Thanks for coming. Literally freaking out. Yes.
I love that. That's so awesome.
Me too.
I am too, because I'm still trying to finish it. And it is, so I always get asked the question, and maybe I'll ask you this, Nichi, like, what's your favorite Fright Vision book?
Oh.
So kids ask me this every time at every visit.
Oh man, I don't know if I could pick, because I I think we've given like 5 stars, and I mean, star rating's a star rating, but I think we've given them all 5 stars. The covers, the stories are so fun, the characters are fun, the twists and turns are so fun. The, like the non-expected twist at the end. Oh, I don't think I could pick a favorite. Culliver, I don't think so.
And that's how I joke with all the kids too. Like, I'm like, I've never figured out a good answer to this question because, I think the cursed coin is kind of the go-to just in the sense of like, you have to get built out, but every single one of the books gives you kind of something different and whatnot. Yes. And so like, I always then kind of segue to cheat the question and be like, the toughest book I've had to write or the most challenging is The Cursed Coin 2 because it had to connect everything. But far and away, the most complicated book I've ever written or worked on is The Cursed Coin 3, which I have boards upon boards of with information everywhere. I tracked all of the books, like all of the Easter eggs, everything that combines all these things so that I can figure out ways to kind of like be true to all of the little things that I set up at different points and that other authors set up, and that like to really, I mean, the Cursed Coin 3 is going to blow it. I mean, it's going to blow it all up. It's just like, it's blow your mind type like reveals in that book.
So I have to go into a little bit of a love fest. So not only do we love Fright Vision in this house, not only did it really get Logan like really invested in reading, and did he absolutely love the series. And we've been, supporting Fright Vision like very close to the beginning when you're first getting going. And I will call or give a shout out to Cameron Chaney because it was him watching his video showing that he got some Fright Vision book mail. And instantly I was on there searching for Fright Vision, trying to find who they were, where they were. And then I got to meet Culliver Crantz. But what you do, the fact that, you do these events with kids in class and that you do these fun videos with kids, like your readers, and really try to get them involved with the series. The fact that you do these books where kids can write a story, they can, enter it into a contest of some sort, have their story at the end of the book, or this exhibit A, I'm so excited for. It's going to be fantastic. You go over and above. You're not just a middle grade series. This isn't just a spooky middle grade series. You are invested and you pull these kids in, and you're really trying to bring the love of reading out in young readers, which is it's absolutely phenomenal. And I cannot thank you enough. And I really wish that Fright Vision got more attention because you guys, I want to call you Joe, but I love Culliver.
I mean, thank you so much. I mean, you and Logan and, you've just been there from the beginning. And we kind of talked a little bit about this backstage beforehand. And so to bring up Cameron Chaney, so when this all started, I somehow came across his page, way back, and I asked him if I could send him books. And I remember, I think one of the very first tag photos on Instagram is Cameron Chaney with the cursed coin over top of all the Goosebumps covers. And, and it was just it was literally that moment of I had just put these out. I had no idea what was going to happen. And it just kind of here we go, fingers crossed something happens. And so then that was kind of the beginning, the first kind of tag thing. Yeah. And then I met you and Logan. And I think you guys were that first, true, brand advocate type people where it was just it was so incredible to meet you guys and hear you and to hear the enthusiasm and Logan's voice when he was talking about the series and stuff like that. And that was where it was yeah. And it was just it just kind of it does something to you. It gives you that jolt of wow, this could actually be fun. And it hopefully gets looked at the way that I'm seeing it, and these kids can enjoy it the way that in my head I'm playing it out, because I'm a big kid at heart myself. So I'm always trying to enjoy this. I have a whole shelf of toys right over here that is part of my thing. I mean, I'm a big kid. And so I always say when I write these books, I always like to write in first person, mainly because I get to be that, 12-year-old kid that I'm writing about. And so I really truly feel I become those characters when I'm there. And so that's always why I don't go super detailed into physical descriptions, stuff like that. That is an R.L. Stine move, and that I picked up from him. But it's it's so that anyone can kind of jump into that character and feel they're them and be on that journey. And that's what I like to do, is create the experience of it, not just have it be, not that doing it a different way is wrong. It's just kind of my style and what I really loved about Goosebumps books back in the day.
Well, and you support other, spooky middle grade books. Like you don't just, you don't see it as like a competition. You're out there and you're talking about like Robbie Miles. He's got the Don't Call It All.
Yeah, I have that book over there. Yeah.
Robbie and I were talking, and I know some things I don't know if I can say until the premiere, right? And I was all gushing over things, and we were all excited. You've got Chris that does the Twisted Books to Leave You Shook. I've seen that you guys have shared stuff each other back and forth.
Yeah.
And that just, I always say that makes my heart go ooey gooey and mushy, because you've seen authors or creators that are putting out their series, their books, and they're supporting other authors that, write the same style, what have you. It makes my day. And then of course I get to meet more middle grade authors, which is great because then there's more for us to consume. And not only do you have Curse Coin 3 coming, but you have another couple books that are coming that are written by two of my absolute favorite authors. And I am
absolutely, and you were helping introducing me to them because that was because of CarveCon last year, and so I met Calvin and Joshua through CarveCon last year when you suggested, like, because when we did our Spooky Tales Around the Fire, we needed those stories and like someone else to get a part of it, and so book 11. So we have the Curse Coin as book 10. Book 11 is written by Josh Marcella, and then book 12 will be written by Calvin Ellis. And then book 13 ends the whole series, and it's the Curse Coin 4. And so that's
I'm excited,
plan.
but I don't want it to end. I'm so excited, but I don't want it to end at all. It's going to be so sad. What do you have thoughts or ideas and plans for after Fright Vision is done, after the series is done?
So that's another good question that I get asked, and I haven't put too much thought into it yet, because we're probably talking another year and a half, 2 years of like, really getting into it and stuff like that, and then we kind of see, right? Because like if we do catch fire or like get picked up and stuff like that, it's going to complete the story, but there's also going to be other stories that can be written, type of thing. And so like if that Fright Vision universe is still fresh and hot and people want to know more about it, I would consider doing different takes and twists on it. The other thing I've always said, I'm always super intrigued by space and like that, like Mars mission stuff, and like seeing those Mars photos, like just sparked so much creativity in my head. And so I would consider going the space route, not necessarily like a Star Trek, Star Wars type thing, but more of like, just like, I love the unknown stuff because then I can have fun. If I work in like, the spaces that everybody knows, I can't have as much fun because they tell me that can't happen or that's not true. So I like those areas where I can, kind of, no one can tell me that can't happen. It might be able to.
create your own world. It's book. It's taking yourself out of reality and jumping into these creative worlds that are non-existent or dream worlds or what have you. And I love space too.
Yeah, it's so intriguing. So intriguing. I always joke with my wife, like, I mean, if they give us the opportunity to go to Mars, like we can live to like 500. Like, do we take it? Because I'm kind of considering it. And she's like, absolutely not. I'm not getting on a spaceship. But I don't know. I'm like, I might have to drag her on there and get us to Mars because
I don't know. I don't know if I would want to live that long. I mean, I like living, but I don't know if I want to be that long.
Think of all the things you could set up on Mars,
Oh man, how do I bring my books with me?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you got to write your own and create your own. It's back to like Tales Around the Fire.
That's true. I guess I could do that because I was thinking, if I live that long, I would get a lot of reading in. But then, how do you bring your books with you? So I guess we would, but then nobody would get to hear our stories that we created, and that would be a bummer.
That is a good point. Pros and cons.
That's right. Absolutely. And it wouldn't be easy to travel back and forth either.
No, definitely not.
Well, perfect. Do you want to talk a little bit more about Exhibit A and when I don't know what I should touch on and what I shouldn't without going too far. So I'm going to let you kind of take the
perfect. So absolutely. So, and just so for the people that don't know what Exhibit A was. So Exhibit A was this writing contest that I started towards the end of the school year last year when I did so many fright storming sessions at schools all across the country of the US. And so I'm in Connecticut and I went as far as like these little schools in Alaska. I mean, it was incredible. I met so many kids. Goodness. Yeah, it was unbelievable. I did like 120 of these over the course of like 4 months, like all over the place. So we were just everywhere, and it was so fun. And like talking to these kids and like brainstorming with them, it was just like the ideas that they had. It was just so awesome, and like to just see them and like, and so I came up with the idea to do this huge writing contest. And like I've always done writing contests for kids, and we've kind of picked the winner, printed it at the end of the book. But this time I wanted to do it the biggest I've ever done it. And so the contest was to create a 1,000 word or less spooky short story and then enter it through the website. That's it. Like, that's all you had to do, create it and whatever. And so what I said was I would print all of the top stories, and I didn't have a number. Like, I had some sort of an idea. It would depend on what the stories were, how many came in, there were so many factors. So I didn't know exactly how many we were going to print. In my head, I was saying like 30 to 50 maybe type thing that we would print of the contest. And we had almost 300 entries from all over the world that came in, and it was like schools and like, teachers made this part of their assignments, and like that it was just like, it was absolutely awesome. And like, I tell you, reading all those stories, they were so good, and it's so hard to pick, to pick the top stories, because it's like,
yes.
And it's like, and it's like, it's so tough. But so I actually posted a video today on the FrightVision YouTube page, basically updating about Exhibit A, the timeline, because I know everyone is like on the edge of their seats. So the contest ended last month, the end of September. And so I've been going through everything in my team, and like, it's a small team, so that's why it's taking a little bit of time, but we're going through the stories, like putting it all together. And so the other thing that happens is the stories that will be printed, the kids meet me. So like, we set up a Zoom call and we talk, like I get to hear them tell me about their story, and like I get to meet them.
Goodness.
Yeah. And so that's part of the whole process, because like, and then, then we make sure they're okay with it, get them printed in the book and that sort of thing. And so that's sort of where we're at right now. We're pretty close to, having all of them picked, and we're actually over 50 that are going to get printed. That's how good these stories were. And it was so hard to like narrow these things down.
Yeah.
And so it was unbelievable. And so so over the course of the next month, I'll be emailing like smaller numbers. So I know some people are going to get their email sooner than others, and they're going to be upset, but like, please bear with me, be patient. I promise, like, we're going to get these out by the end of this month, because I have to meet with everybody. So rather than sending out all of the emails and then trying to set up Zoom meetings with everybody along with the schedule, it just doesn't make sense. And it just kind of creates more chaos than what needs to be. And so I'm just kind of like sporadically sending out emails now to then be able to set up meetings with all of the kids that are going to get printed. And then by the end of the month, next month, also to every kid who entered, my goal is to get them an email too, thanking them, because they're a huge part of all of this. Even if their story doesn't get printed, doesn't mean their story wasn't good. It was just so many stories, and we had to kind of narrow down some things. So it's so unfortunate when you like, when you're going through and you're like, but we are going to print their name in the book. And so that becomes and they become part of the FrightVision series, which is I think that's just so cool. Like I would have loved that as a kid. I just think that's so neat. And so the other thing that's even cooler, I guess, like, is that 100% of the royalties from Exhibit A, once it becomes a book and gets printed and sent out, 100% of the royalties is donated to charity. And so we are looking to work with charities that are, all about kids. And so I have the FrightVision Board of Kids, which is a group of kids that is all part of FrightVision. And so they are deciding which charity we're going to donate the royalties to. And we're going to do it like on a quarterly basis, so that we get multiple charities involved in this, like things that are important to them, because what's important to kids is important to me. And so like, that's what we're going to kind of carry that mission forward and really help these kids. And who knows, maybe we'll make these kids best-selling authors, which would be so incredible. How cool would that be? That would be
so cool.
One of my goals always, every author sets out, wants to have like a best-selling book type thing, but how cool would it be if the first one that ever happens in the FrightVision series is the one that's written by kids? Because that would just be like, that would just warm my heart, because it's like, that's what this is all about, is the kids.
Emperor Baddie. Oh my goodness. See, this is why FrightVision needs so much more notice. It just, I want to scream it from the hilltops. Like, there's so much more here. It's not just a middle grade series. Like, you guys, Culliver, you are going over and above. You're really getting those kids involved. I mean, charities taking the royalties and donated to charities. You have your Fright Vision board of kids. Like, I just, I admire you so much, and the amount of work and what you're doing right now to try to push out Exhibit A and get it out on time. Emailing Zoom calls with the kids. I mean, oh my goodness. I admire you so much, and I will
stop. You do more work than I do.
No, I don't think so. No way. There's no way. Well, then I feel like I need to do more, like helping you with the TikTok. I'm sorry, that doesn't seem like enough.
I love that you're helping with that. That is so huge. Like, so that's one of the things, like, you know, there's just so much coming at you. It's like, you know, you start off like Instagram was a foreign language at first, and then you get well versed in it and you're going through it and do it. And then now like TikTok became like the new thing that everyone was kind of like going towards. And I was like, I just don't have time right now. I'm trying to write the books, trying to do all these other things. And then it was like, you have to be on TikTok. So I was like, okay, like we'll just figure this out. Yeah. And then you just get lost on it. And so that's why I think it's so huge that like you help out with it. You do the TikTok page and like you're creating these videos for me and all those sorts of things. Absolutely incredible. And
well, I love it. I love it. I'm so honored that you trust me to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's true. There's so many platforms, and Instagram was all about the photos, which was nice because you can even create a template or just take a quick snapshot and post it with your description. But now even Instagram's starting to turn into videos, and they're wanting you to really push those reels, and they're saying that people aren't going to be able to find you without putting those reels out, right? Well, I mean, that makes it, then it's even for me, even just for like as a hobby, I'm thinking really like it almost makes me want to just turn around and say, well, forget it. Then I don't want to do it. You know, I don't have the time to learn all this stuff. I'm old. I don't have the time.
It's crazy, like everything, and then everything changes, but then they become like the other thing too, where it's like rather than just kind of sticking with what you are, even like Facebook and stuff. Like Facebook's tough because like, you know, you don't get the reach on like your posts. So like you make a post on Facebook on your page and it like doesn't go to anybody. And so that's why I created and that's why I created all those like Facebook groups. So that we could have like a where they'd actually get, you know, the posts that I was making, because otherwise they just kind of get lost in Facebook land, wherever that stuff goes. Yeah,
yes, absolutely. Well, and even YouTube, like I was so excited when Logan and I did our first review of the cursed coin on YouTube. I was so excited.
I remember that. That was such a great day. I was so like, when I saw that video, I was like, let me tell you, and I mean this honestly, like you, as when I said before, like you were one of the first brand advocates, both of you. Like that video is like one of the things that really pushed me in the beginning, because it's like you're not getting, like I wasn't getting any sort of like, you know, your friends tell you that they like whatever, but they're not my target audience, you know, and I don't have kids and like and stuff like that. So it was like, you know, hearing that from Logan like deserves credit for being part of the catalyst to like keep this all going, because like that was just such an awesome thing for me. And it was like the first time it had happened with kids doing that. So it was just like, it really was like you and Logan like are such a big part of Fright Vision. And it makes me feel like we're like, you know, I know that, you know, we've only met through, you know, we did some Zoom calls last year with CarveCon and stuff like that, but we talk a lot through Messenger, and you feel like a very good friend of mine, but it's so funny how like that, like,
oh, you're a good friend of mine.
From the beginning. I know. Yeah. It's just like
online. Yeah, absolutely. I was so heartbroken because shortly after we did that video, YouTube had changed, and there was the whole COPPA thing that went down, and there was new regulations in point, and I had to turn around, and I actually left YouTube for 6 months because the thought of not being able to do videos like that, to be able to read and review the FrightVision books or something with Logan, was just kind of heartbreaking, because they really don't want to have kids on screen that are under the age of 13. So I just took a step back, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And I tried to make everything on Instagram. And then I did one video upload because Instagram IGTV wasn't working, and everyone freaked out thinking I was back. And I'm like, all right, I guess if you guys want me back, I'm coming back. But then I changed everything. We changed from I Read Past My Bedtime to Dark Between Pages. And I made it very clear that yes, it's going to stay, you know, just adult books. I'll talk about middle grade on my channel, but I won't have Logan in there. But it just breaks my heart. So it's fun because using these TikTok videos, I can even get the kids involved, or, you know, like Instagram posts, I can get the kids involved, and I'm not going to get in trouble for having my own kids in the video. So you giving me that you trusting me. I always bug people when I'm like, did you know that I get to run the TikTok for Fright Vision,
Oh, absolutely.
They always giggle at me. I'm like, listen, Joe gave his trust in me.
Absolutely. All the time. Like, and I love Logan is part of I love that spooky Would You Rather video. That was great. Like Logan being part of it, and like that was cool.
Listen, I pull him and he's like, Mom, don't embarrass me. I'm like, you're doing this. It's happening. It's happening. But then he ends up giggling about it. And the Would You Rather, we do those quite a bit in the vehicle. Those books, this one here, comes with us in our vehicle. I bought one for both of the boys, so there was no fighting over. And when we're bored, we'll pull it out. And we'll just do would you rather's, and we'll get into full load discussions.
That's awesome.
What about this? Well, what about this? And I'm like, but that it doesn't specify that. So how do you choose? You have to just go with what options you have. I mean, no, it's a lot of fun. You need a Twitter now. Because you don't have a Twitter.
Oh my goodness, I know. I don't have a Twitter. It's like I just have as it is. Like it's like I feel like I'm spread thin. I had to learn YouTube last year right before CarveCon came out. Mm-hmm. Literally putting up that 2-hour video, 1 hour and 45-minute opening video as a premiere, having never created a YouTube post or YouTube video before, and just hoping and praying that at 7:30 when it was supposed to go off, that it actually went off. Like I remember sitting there, waiting to cheers my wife, on the couch, please, go off. And then once it did, it was whew. But that's so one of the, you mentioned that YouTube thing with kids. That's the reason why you can't comment on any of the Fright Vision videos, because
exactly.
I have to put made for kids, because it is and I'd rather have kids just watching it and whatever, you know what I mean? It's unfortunate that they can't comment and hear from me, but I'm always active on Instagram, always active on Facebook. If kids comment, I'm definitely, responding at some point. But, with the YouTube stuff, if your video, if you choose not made for kids so that people can comment on it, it has a big, you have to be 18 to watch this video. So it just does create more problems. And so I think during the premieres, you still get the live chat, although I don't know if that's still the case. So when we do the premiere today, I'm hoping the live chat works, but I'm not 100% on that.
And it makes it so hard, because I understand the reasoning behind it, and I understand everything went down. And as a parent, I agree with a lot of it. But at the same time, it really does make it hard for content creators such as yourself to get something that is, genuine and good for kids out there, right? This isn't something that kids should be steering away from. This is something that should be pulling kids in and getting them excited about reading. So it's hard to see that, when you go to the video. I always share your videos on Twitter though, when they go.
Oh, that's the best. You're the best. You're the best.
Even though you can't comment on them, I'm watching and I'm sharing.
That's awesome.
Instagram needs to offer that, so you can just go in and share to Instagram, and it goes up on your stories or something like that. That would be perfect, because then at least I could tag you guys as well. But yeah, you're gonna need a Twitter, because that's another place where people just blow up. Although Twitter can come with a lot of drama too. So
all of the social media channels can come with that. That's what's tough.
Isn't it true? So I've got this comment popped up forever. Sorry, Lewis, if you're still here. It sounds like they deserve the power of the hammer, Nichi. Lewis sent me Monier here, this hammer, as a gift.
Yeah.
And it's got the Canadian flag all around it. And usually I have it sitting where my Scream tumbler is. And it's in all of my videos to show that that's right. Canadians assemble.
I love it. The Thor hammer. I love
it. I do. When I talk about Fright Vision, I become this blubbering mess, because I've just got all of this excitement, and I just want to get people talking about it, reading it. I've even bought a couple of the books to send to friends, and I'm like, you have to read this. You've got kids, jump into this. What are you waiting for? I really wish that Logan's school would be a little more interested in taking part, because I shared that information with them over and over and over again, especially before he went into grade 7, and nobody was interested. But now, the school that he's in, they've got a lot more, independence, and they're being treated like adults, and everything's changing now. So
oh yeah, no, It's tough. I mean, I get it. It's definitely tough, like, especially with like teachers, like not, knowing, necessarily maybe they don't know, Fright Vision or anything like that, and seeing some of the stuff to bring me into the schools. They are a blast though. So if there are any teachers out there, like, and I always do like a intro meeting with the teachers, like ahead of time, to like, this is what to expect, because this isn't just me coming in to talk. Like, this is like, let's, like, tell your kids to be ready, because it's like the whole idea is starting from like creating the character that we brainstorm about is all by them. Yeah, they create the character's name, they create all the things. I give them the story prompt, and then we just figure out how it all comes together. And we create these worlds like in the course of 45 minutes, and they're just like, I love the question at the end, like, are you going to make this into a book? Because that means that we created something really cool.
Yes.
And so I'm always like, I want you to do that you take this, run with it, do whatever you like with it, because it's just so fun when they get that jazzed about it.
So my youngest loves when we read the books to and from school, because every day we commute a half an hour one way, and every single day he'll be like, Mom, can you tell me a spooky story? Mom, can you tell me a spooky story? Mom, can I have a scary story? And eventually I run out of stories. But that's when you can pull out one of these and say, hey, Logan, will you read this while we're driving? And so he knows what Fright Vision is. And if there's a new Fright Vision book that comes out, like when we got, I'm going to see if I've got a mess over here with all the books. Oh my goodness. When this one came in, I showed Logan and I'm like, look what we have. And then I showed Bennett and he was like, well, what is it? I said, it's a new Fright Vision. And he's like, Mom, can we start reading it? So it's nice because even though he's not the target age, he's already getting excited about it. And I sat down with him the other day and I said, sometimes Mom doesn't come up with spooky stories, and my brain kind of goes blank. I said, but I'll tell you what, I said, if you work harder at learning how to read, you can enter into the world of all these spooky stories yourself. And he said, okay, Mom. So, I mean, he's 4 and he's already wanting to sit down and start to learn how to read the Fright Vision books. I mean,
that's so cool. Right? That's so great to hear. And it's so funny to see him in the videos sometimes too. I know he pops up every now and again. Your kids are great, both of them. I mean,
he wants to. If we try to do something, he's always banging on the door. Mom, I want to take part. So I told him I've got some ideas for TikTok where he can come and he can take part. So it will be fun.
I remember when we met for the first time last year, like when Bennett made sure he said hi, like, like on our Zoom call.
Yes. Yeah. He had to say hi. Thank you. I was trying to dress up a little bit, but not as much as last night. I had the same look last night for Halloween live, but I had like gears glued to my face. I did
see those on it. It looked awesome.
It was fun. But then after this, we've got some Halloween events we're going to, and I didn't really want to be having these gears glued to my face the whole entire day. It would be very uncomfortable.
Understandable for sure.
James read Carrie at age 7. So,
wow.
I mean, you were diving deep.
Yeah, I was definitely goosebumps still then. I wasn't ready for Carrie. Still don't know if I'm ready for Carrie.
You can do it. You can do it. That was a question I was going to ask you. And I know we've talked about this before, is what really pulled you into wanting to do Fright Vision? What was like your aha, like moment that was just inspiration? This is what I want to do. And I want to make it a spooky middle grade series.
Yeah, that's a good one. So, Goosebumps growing up for me was always like my favorite thing to read. Like I remember going to the bookstore and just being like, I need to like that next book. And there were just so many and so much fun. And like those twists and turns just kept me reading. And it was like, I loved reading Goosebumps and I loved reading these sports books that I used to like, Matt Christopher books. Those are my 2 big favorite ones as a kid. And so like, when I was coming up with the idea for Fright Vision, I always liked writing and telling stories and creating and stuff like that. So as I was coming up with them, kind of brought me back to those Goosebumps days. So like when I started writing, I started reading more Goosebumps again, like getting caught up again and just kind of getting those feels and that nostalgia and just like that feeling of being a kid again. And it just brought me back. And so I wanted to capture that. And like when I was creating Fright Vision, like the first book in the series, The Cursed Coin, took me forever to write. Like it took me 2 years almost to write the Cursed Coin. Like it started off, its name was originally The Lemonade Stand, which having read the book, where that came from, but like it didn't have the same feel to it. It was about half the length. And then sort of like I remember writing this like and just getting stuck. I was so stuck because it was before I figured out how to like do all these other like brainstorming techniques, these boards that I use now and all sorts of stuff. And so I was super stuck. And I just like, I remember I was in my apartment, I had just moved, and like I only had like one of the Goosebumps books like in like a box so it was near me. So I kept reading this one, and it just like, I was like, just like getting the feels again, and it just helped me. And so I think I have it right over here. And so it was A Night in Terror Tower, which maybe you've read or maybe Logan's read. And so this is the book that like that helped me get unstuck. And so it was just something in it that clicked with me. And what was really cool, I'd reached out to R.L. Stine, like telling him about Fright Vision and just like thanking him for, being the inspiration for what I did. When I actually got to meet him, I had him sign this book because this book means a lot to me. It's like what started the whole series. And so like, what helped like be the catalyst. And so it's like, I just wanted, something different and like, to kind of put my own twist on it and then take some of the, aspects of like things I loved as an adult, like Stranger Things. Like I love Stranger Things. Like I have my toys right here, some Stranger Things toys. And so like, I love that angle of like science and spookiness and like those sorts of things to bring it all together. But then I was like, how can I put my own spin on it? And that's where like the connecting this whole world together, using other authors, using other standalone stories that I just thought was kind of neat. And so that's how it all kind of came to be.
I could sit here and listen to you talk all day about it.
And
Lewis says that, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Lewis says that's still a good ominous title for a kid's horror tale, I think, The Lemonade Stand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good one, too.
Yeah. I felt like I couldn't do enough with it in the future, and that's where the cursed coin kind of took over. I realized it was more the coin than the lemonade stand, and so like and I had to be bigger. And so when I was building out that world, I felt like I didn't want to have it be fully about that lemonade stand, and so that's where it plays a big role, but like it doesn't necessarily. It couldn't carry the series like the coin could.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got to be careful on how I say this. You also touch on some emotional things that some kids can go through in life, like real life. And you touch on some of those things in your books, and it's very respectful and it's done so well. And it, brings it across in a way to really get kids thinking, like right off with the cursed coin, the first one. There's a special person in their life that's no longer there. Right. I'm trying to speak in the code for anyone that hasn't read them. And it's just, I don't know. It's nice to see that something like that can be touched on, something that could be so emotional for so many people, but it's so respectful and you bring life into the story. And so something like that can really help some kids even resonate with it in a different way than just reading a fun, spooky story as well.
No, thanks. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for kind of like those regular things that everyone has or goes through. And so like, that's where like the coin comes in, even like the peephole, like same sort of like idea kind of takes that like,
so good.
And what's crazy about the peephole is I actually started writing the peephole before I ever finished the cursed coin. And so so when I was writing Fright Vision, I originally intended to go the traditional publishing route. Like I reached out to, agents, publishers, stuff like that, like 211 plus query letters, and nobody wanted to even read it. And so I was like, I guess I got to go. But so one of the things I did though was, my trouble is I get so close to the series that like I have a really hard time writing the blurb, like the back blurbs. I have such a hard time with because it's like in my head, like this is important, this is important, this is important. So I'm sure that my query letters were like, just like, way too large, like a mess, but like whatever. But so I eventually queried about the peephole, and actually it was the first time that like an agent wanted to look at it, but it was like, I wrote the query letter before I wrote the book. So I was like, oh no. And so then I tried to like write the book quick and it didn't work out. But then, years later, this, year and a half ago when I came back to it, I had the framework for it. I changed a bunch of it and whatnot and built it out. But like that, the peephole was actually started and like partially written before the cursed coin was ever finished.
And it was such a good story. And again, emotional. Like there is an emotional connection. There's ways for kids and even adults to relate to the story. but it still was just full of so much fun and hope and light at the end of the tunnel that it was just, see, every time we get a new Fright Vision book, it becomes a new favorite.
I had a lot of fun writing that one because it was different. It was like I got to be different people, different characters, and then like, it was different than writing The Cursed Coin with RJ and Shelley because like those characters are so important to me now. And it's like, there'll be times where I'm just like walking around and like, I'm like, oh, I need that for RJ. I need Shelley for that. And like, how can I, tie in something subtle here? Or like, there's just so much I know about them that they feel part of this.
Yes, I agree with this. We love how RJ is concerned for his sister and not portrayed as a disrespectful sibling like so many books today. As a parent, that's so important. And it's so true. It's so true. Absolutely. Siblings fight, but they love each other and they really take care of each other. And it makes it so relatable. And I'm showing off the covers here. I'm not even showing that even the backs are funky and fun.
That's my cover designer, Steph. She does such an awesome job tying these all together. And speaking of covers, I know we mentioned this backstage, and I'm just gonna throw a little teaser out there.
Ooh.
So, and we're gonna tie it back to Exhibit A, the writing contest. And so, I have been working on, talking with the cover designer, and so we went back and forth a little bit. And I actually got to see a preview of the Exhibit A cover, and it is mind-blowing how cool it is. So I can't wait to show that off once it's all finalized and said and done. I think all of the kids that are going to be part of this are just going to love this cover because it's incredible. She outdid herself with this one. It was just absolutely incredible.
Well, and that's the thing. This one's different because this is an anthology of all the kids' stories, all the kids that love Fright Vision, that contributed their story, that put it out there. I am beyond excited for it. We are going to have to, anybody that's watching, whether you're watching now or watching later, we are going to have to blow up the internet when that cover comes out because this is completely different. To sit back and to get to listen or to be able to read these kids' stories. It's going to be, and the amazing minds and imaginations that these kids have. So for anyone that doesn't know, Culliver put together CarveCon last year as well. And like went big, like really
last
big.
year was big.
Oh my
That
goodness.
was wild.
And you had, well-known authors, indie authors reading some kids' stories. I know Logan had his story in there and he was just blown away to see a scholastic author reading his book or his story and his zombies, his Z-Portal.
Z-Portal, I remember that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Zombies and their candy. And it was just, we sat around the computer watching this event and it was kind of like the kickoff to Halloween. Right. And
yeah, that's awesome.
There were so many people involved and the amount of work that went into this. So, CarveCon wasn't as big this year because, well, things are different for Halloween. And
people a little bit different.
Yeah. And people are allowed to go out this year and we're not all locked into our houses and there's not so many restrictions in place for some places. So it's harder to put on such a big event, to put the time to do what you did last year. And to maybe not have as many people take part or to watch would be just heartbreaking. But this year, you still went out of your way to make sure that you had a CarveCon event in place. Do you want to talk a bit about what you did this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So last year was the 4 nights. We did October 9th, the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th. And we had events going on each of those that were live premieres each time. And then we did the spooky game night was actually live. So that was cool too, where I did it with
so
the kids.
Much fun.
Yeah, I'll have to do another one of those one of these times. Yeah.
Forget the kids. I was having a blast. I was right in there.
And so with CarveCon this year, we changed it a little bit because like you said, the world's a little bit different. And so rather than doing all 4 nights, what I decided to do was I wanted to do something, and I really liked, collaborating with all of the different authors, all the different spooky people. I just think it's nice to kind of bring everyone together, for that just fun, type of thing. And, we all get caught up in our own stuff throughout the year and we're all busy and whatnot, but it's kind of nice to bring together a core of people that you do these sorts of events with. But I think, this year, so I decided we did on the social media pages, we did 13 spooky nights, or we did 13 like different picture caption type things of, you know, all different like spooky related stuff. And then for tonight or today, right after this at 2:15, our big thing is the video story. And so it's basically like a chain letter, but it's like created from one person gets it, pass it off to the next person, and then they take over, and then they pass it off to the next person. And so, you know, this video story came out unbelievable. I had no idea what to expect when we created this, because like I started it and then just, you know, I had all the pressure off. I started it and then passed it off and like just let it go. And so we had, I think it was 30 people a part of the video story. And so it goes a lot. It's like a lot of alternating between adult to kid, adult to kid, adult to kid. And they just take the story from what it was and they add their part and they send it back to me, and I put it all together and then send it to them. And so it's just wild how it kind of found a way to come together. I feel like that's kind of like how CarveCon was last year. I was like, let's just see what happens and hopefully it comes together. And it just kind of came together.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was sort of the plan here, where it was like, let's get this to happen and see what happens. And so the video story is just incredible. And I know there's a couple people in the chat in here that are part of it. And so it's like, yeah, absolutely. And so it's just really cool. Oh no, is my Wi-Fi messing up here?
No, I'm still here. Sorry.
Oh, was that me or was that you?
No, that was me, and for some reason it's still showing that there's two of me in here. I forgot to warn you that for some reason around anywhere from like the 50-minute or just after an hour mark, StreamYard just decides that it's going to boot me out, and it just restarts my browser on me. I'm sorry. I should have.
Oh no, don't worry about it. No, I just wanted to make sure, because I saw it kind of freezing a little bit, and I was like, I don't know if it's me, and like hopefully it's like everything got through there. So.
I was able to hear you just fine, but now I've got two of me. So this is, and one of them's dark. It must be like my alter ego. That's
there we go.
Oh, no,
it's gone. But yeah, so the video story just came out. Like I just literally had no idea. I was just like, let's just see what happens. Like, and you did an awesome job. Logan did an awesome job. Like, that's so cool.
I can't wait, because we were closer to the front there, so
I
can't wait to see how the rest of the story plays out. Like, I am so excited to see where people's imaginations went with this story, because you never know what they're going to come up with when you're piecing it together. And
yeah, and I think this one's a little bit more manageable in time too, versus last CarveCon where it was like an hour and 40 minutes for each episode. This one is just under a half hour. It's like 27 minutes or something. So it's like not too much of your day.
But you went hard last year, and it was so appreciated, because like so many, we were stuck in our house because, and we with the lights off, we couldn't even hand out candy, because unfortunately Logan had been in class with a close case, right? So we had to completely isolate for 10 days, 14 days. And we were stuck at home on Halloween with everyone out there trick-or-treating, you know, with lights off and everything. So to be able to, you know, have these nights in a row where we got to sit around and enjoy some spooky fun, like, it was really, really appreciated. And I mean, a lot of hard work went into that, and it was absolutely noticed. And I have so much respect for you, because that could not have been hard. And then you're just kind of exhausted afterwards and ready to, right?
That was that's my thing after CarveCon. It's just that like time to hibernate for a few days, like where it's just like, even this year where it's like October just felt like, it feels like such a blur, and it's just gone. And so like, it just like, it feels like it's time to like hibernate for a touch for a couple days, and then kind of come back and refresh.
If I was doing your work you were doing, I'd be like, hibernate for a couple months. See you guys. Sayonara. I'm out of here. I'll see you when winter's over. I'm going to be like a bear. Thank you so much. Well, that's so exciting. So you do have another event going on aside from what we've been doing, or what you've been doing for the last 2 days of having something that people can do at home and take part in CarveCon. But you do have, like you've mentioned, a premiere that's going up on your channel at 2:15 of this spooky story of all these spooky people that took part. So afterwards, don't forget that at 2:15 EST, to make sure to go over to the Fright Visions channel and watch the premiere of this story and see these fantastic people that took part and added to the story. I know a few of them, and we've been talking about it and we've been gushing about it, and we're super excited to see the whole thing play out from beginning to end. I'm telling you, not having my coffee this morning was a bad idea. I'm stumbling.
And fingers crossed that it goes off when it's supposed to, like always. It's still stressful no matter how many times you do it and set it up.
But that's part and parcel. That's technology, videos, live shows. I always say it's not alive without some type of technical difficulty, like me being kicked out or something, or somebody stumbling over the words and not being able to talk.
You need your coffee. I had to bring mine with me. So.
And the mug. Oh, man. I should have got my Fright Vision swag out here. I mean.
I really outdid myself. I feel like I have so much Fright Vision gear at this point. I could wear it every day for, a month and not have to do laundry like at this point.
Hey, why not? I know whenever I wear my CarveCon hoodie from last year.
The CarveCon ones,
I get so many compliments, and I wear it all year round. It doesn't matter if it's close to Halloween or what have you. And I've got people saying, "Oh, I love that you celebrate Halloween all year round." And I said, "Listen, this is CarveCon, Fright Vision CarveCon 2020." And I said, my son and I took part in a live Halloween event, and I said, and we are huge fans of Fright Vision. They're like, "Oh, what's Fright Vision?" I'm like, "Well, let me tell you."
Yeah.
And this is where that conversation starts, and you get to, word of mouth even out there in the day-to-day world, not just on socials, right? So
no, it was so cool. I was actually I was out in the neighborhood last night, and like we had this little event in the neighborhood, and like there were actually a couple kids from the neighborhood. They didn't know who I was or whatever there, and then once they figured out who I was, they were like, "I read your book!" Like, so it was like, it was really cool to see the kids say that. And they're like, "Well, why did this at? What is this at?" Like, it's always funny when kids start going down.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it was cool.
You have your book local in libraries there, right?
Yeah, it's kind of sporadically, like it's in a lot of like elementary schools, just because like I've done all those visits. So most of the time when I come visit, a lot of the those libraries then start to carry me, and then I've gotten some local support within like the neighborhood and then like outside of it, and then it's just kind of random how some places if like you try to figure out who has it. I don't know, but like it's like it's always fun when you hear those sorts of things, especially from kids. Kids are just. It's just so fun. Like, I mentioned with Logan, like it does something different hearing a kid like just tell you how much they liked it. Because kids are honest. Let's be real. Kids are going to tell
honest.
You. I mean,
brutally honest.
Oh yeah. If they hate it, they're going to make sure that you know that, and you're going to change it next time. But so that's why it's always like I always listen pretty close, like when the kids like start talking about like what they thought and everything, because it's real talk. So it's always nice to hear that sometimes.
No, absolutely. Sometimes it's like, oh, that's a punch to the gut there. Thanks. But it's true. And they're your target audience. And, if they can speak and be honest with you, and you can take what they're saying into consideration for next time, I mean, that just shows right there that, like it's not about money. It's not about going big or going rich. It's about your readers, the people that you appreciate, the people that you want to share this excitement and this spooky fun with. So
absolutely.
That means everything. Well, we are hitting the hour mark, and I don't want to keep you too long. And I know you've got things that are going and planning. You've got the premiere that's going up at 2:15. People, you've got to get yourself set up to be there for that premiere, for everyone to be commenting. Hopefully, that live chat.
Hopefully that works. Yeah. Regardless, there's the Fright Vision pages, the Instagram pages. So if you watch it and you can't comment during it, hopefully you'll let us know on one of those pages what you thought of it, and you have some fun with it. Because there's a lot of people that spent some time doing this, and it's always nice to do that. And then probably tomorrow, I think I'm going to try to get to it tonight, but it might be tomorrow that I do. There's going to be an extra video from all the people who took part. Some of them did like intro videos or whatever, and then I'll be like a little extra special thanks to everyone who took part in it. And it'll be nice. Like again, like you just want to show off them too, because they took the time to be part of this, so they should get recognized for that too, and like you should check out their stuff.
See, that's what I love too, is that you send the love back. It's not just one direction, it goes both ways. Well, I will make sure once we pop off here, I will make sure, because I didn't have time to get it set up before we went on. I'm going to go and put all of the social media links in the description. I'm also going to put the premiere link in the description.
Awesome.
So anyone that's here, you give me a few minutes after we do jump off, and I will go and put all of that information in. Anybody that's here after the fact, you can still head over and look at all these socials. Follow Culliver Crantz, support Fright Vision.
Follow DarkBetweenPages. She's the best there.
Oh man!
If you're not already, you should be following her.
You are too kind. I just want to I want everyone that I know to support you, because
Thank you.
I mean, clearly I'm genuine here. I mean, I've been talking about Fright Vision for a few years now.
It's wild. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's gone so fast, but
can't
already
believe it.
we want it now. Already following. Yes, you do. Thanks, James. James is such an awesome supporter, and he actually writes music and plays guitar, and he writes music based on books that he's read that give him inspiration.
Oh, wow.
So
that's cool.
Maybe you need to read some of the Fright Vision and get some inspiration, because
that's cool. Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool.
Something about a cursed coin or this backpack.
Oh, the backpack. That cover is so cool.
Right? I told him I want a backpack like this.
I know. Logan said he wanted that for school, right? Didn't he say that?
Yes, absolutely.
And here it is in the other color scheme.
If I was talented, I would make one. And the back, again, you guys, and all of these little pictures on the back, all the pieces on the back, give you a little sneak peek of something that's in the book. And you'll understand it once you read it, why this piece is here. So it's really exciting. Well, perfect. Well, then I won't keep you too long. But again, follow.
This was awesome. It felt like, I can't believe that hour flew by. This is like long overdue. This is our first live show.
Yeah. Well, you are welcome anytime. Anytime. Even if you want to pop in, maybe I should have you on with like Robbie and stuff, and have.
Oh yeah. Robbie's great. Yeah. He's part of the video story. Yeah.
Yeah. Him and I were talking, and then I told him that, I said, did I ever tell you, Robbie? I said that I'm doing the videos for Fright Vision's TikTok, and he was just like, no way, no ma'am. He's like, don't tell me this, because you're gonna be even cooler. And I was just like, yeah. Said Joe trusts me apparently, so.
That's too funny.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to have you guys on, have a bunch of spooky middle grade authors on, and have a good time. Or maybe we should do something, we could invite Marcella and Calvin.
Do a little Fright Vision one. Yeah,
have some Fright Vision, and Robbie, because he's a big fan. I tell you, Robbie is a big fan. Yeah,
I know, he's awesome. Yeah, he sent me some great messages. I do really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
and his book is great too. I have it over there.
It is. It's got a good message to it too.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, that's what I like, is that these underlining messages to kids.
Yeah.
In these books are spot on.
So important. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. No worries, Dave. Thank you for popping in and saying hi. Anyways, you can always come back and watch it later. But yeah, absolutely. Anybody that's watching now, thank you so much for coming with us.
Thank you, everyone. Absolutely.
And make sure, if you're not already, to follow Fright Vision. Send them all the love. Give Culliver all the love. Go and pick up Fright Vision Books. Watch the premiere, because it's going to be on at 2:15 EST on Fright Vision's channel.
Like 9 minutes, 10 minutes, 9 minutes, something like that. Yeah.
So go head over there now. Okay. All right. I should let you go so you can get ready for the premiere.
Thanks so much for having me. It was such a blast. Happy Halloween. And, I love to end with the old Happy Nightmares.
Happy Nightmares. Yes, absolutely. See you guys.
Take care.